I don't pay for YouTube Red or YouTube Premium, whatever the fuck it's called. So you guys are gonna get ads, okay? Lock in, divas. It's time. Am I the asshole for blowing up my friend's marriage and family? I have a friend of many years who's a bit flaky and permanently skint. She is married, multiple children, and between her and her husband, they work 25 hours a week combined. Okay. With a mortgage, bills, pets, kids, things that are often tight for them. We only have one child and we both work full time, so finances are often a little easier for us, though a lot gets tied up in investment. And we do like to shop and holiday. I'm aware of their financial discrepancy between, oh my gosh, there's so much in my peripheral vision going on. Discrepancy between us, and it has never been an issue. We go to free activities, look for discounts, etc., or I'll pick up the bill. Let's go away with the kids for the weekend. You tell me which weekend you're free. I'll book, I'll pay, you drive. It worked well. Recently, it's taken a turn though. In the last couple of weeks, for various emergencies, she's borrowed $1,000 from me, most of which, to avoid awkwardness and complications, I said not to worry about and see as gifts. This accumulated with a request for a smaller amount of money of $50 to replace one of the kids' shoes. No worries, I got you. Get that baby them shoes. For the next night, her husband to invite mine out drinking because she'd given him $50. ... That was for the baby's shoes. I went into a rage and pointed out that was my money and it was for shoes, and I realized I'd been completely taken advantage of. I told the husband he needed to get a job and stop borrowing from his wife all the time. Turns out he didn't know I'd been financially helping them out. He needed to get a job and stop borrowing. Wait, he needed to stop borrowing all the time? Oh, sorry. I've been financially helping out. Now they are arguing and fighting. I feel that it's my fault. I could have stayed quiet. Then again, when I hear someone at the door, it makes me feel nauseous because I automatically think it's them asking for more. It's amplified by the fact that I do have some memory issues and I feel taken advantage of. So am I the asshole, or should I have just stayed quiet? First off, the fact that you have multiple children, because let me just make sure this is right. Let me make sure before I go in, I have all the facts. Her and her husband combined only work 25 hours a week. They have a mortgage, bills, pets, kids, plural, multiple children. They have multiple children. Innocent. This is a good-hearted person. I don't think this person is an asshole at all. Especially that's one. So there's two sides of it. That's one thing that I've always struggled for is once you give somebody the money, once you let somebody borrow money from you and you let them have money, it really is up to them what they do with that money. Once I give it to you, it's in your hands. I don't really care what you do with it. I just ask, and I would prefer somebody be honest with me when they're asking for money about what it's actually going to go to. Because if you're hey, can I have $20 to buy some shoes? Girl, I'll just buy you the shoes. But if you're going to say, hey, I need $20 to feed my baby, and then go give your husband $20 to go out and drink at the bar, that would piss me off. I'd be if you had just told me you wanted to go get drinks, I would have said, let's just go get drinks. I think that this person is innocent. And so the comments say, so she took money for her kids' shoes and immediately handed it to her husband for drinks. That's not flaky. That's financial abuse by proxy, and you're allowed to be furious. You didn't blow up their marriage. She did when she decided your generosity was her slush fun. Yeah, she totally took advantage of you, dude. That's not a real friend. So I would say she's innocent. Oh, y'all, this one's fresh. This is 7 minutes ago. Am I the asshole for telling my sister's fiance the real reason she wants kids? No. Oh my God. No, it got removed by a moderator. Oh, it was posted 7 minutes ago. It was removed by a moderator. Fuck. That one seemed so juicy. Wait, now I want to know why she wants kids. What's the real reason? It was some tea. She probably used public names. That's probably why they removed it. This one seems a little funny. It seems more lighthearted. Am I the asshole for telling my husband he can't have 2 fans on while we sleep? Do I have any fan users in chat? I need a fan on. Granted, I just use my ceiling fan, but I love falling asleep with a fan on. I'm new here, but hopeful some outside perspectives can help me better understand if I'm being an asshole or not. I've been married 15 years. Woo, good job. And in that time, I've accommodated to a lot of particular sleeping needs for my husband. We don't share blankets because he needs 5 to sleep and I only need 1. He sleeps with a very loud fan for white noise, and I use earplugs because I sleep better without white noise. It's always cold in our bedroom because he sleeps best when it's cold. I wear full-on pants, long sleeves, and socks because being cold is painful for me, but I also want him to be comfortable, so I do it. I have literally sacrificed my own comfort again and again over the years to make sure he's got the right conditions to get a good night's sleep every night. Recently, he started turning on the ceiling fan in addition to the very loud personal fan. The ceiling fan hums, it makes the room colder, and I've told him I don't like it, and it makes it even harder for me to sleep at night. But alas, he continues to turn it on every night. This morning I was annoyed and I turned the fan off when I got up. I told him more firmly that it bothers me and he gets one fan, either the small loud one or the ceiling fan. He doesn't get both. Now he's angry / annoyed / frustrated. Am I being the asshole? Should I have just moved to a different bedroom permanently? Or is that just avoiding the larger issue? Selfishness. Has anyone successfully dealt with this problem? Thanks in advance. Okay, so here's the thing. I could tell as she was typing this out that this chick was getting, I don't know if you guys could hear it from the way I was reading. It sounded like as she was writing this all out, she was getting angrier and angrier as she was writing it all out. I don't think she's the asshole. I think, yeah, maybe the way it was handled was a little too harsh. But on the other side of that, they've been married for 15 years, guys. I think it's communication issues, 100%. But they've been married for 15 years. She's mentioned multiple times that this bothers her, that she is willing to go and put herself in like uncomfortable situations to appease her partner's like sleeping preference. It sounds like this woman has not gotten a good, restful night of sleep in 15 years. I think just moving permanently into a different bedroom is maybe not the way to do it. I think this really does boil down to communication, but it also does worry to me that he is so okay with like inconveniencing her, you know? Because that's the thing with like relationships. Like I know people are like, oh, relationships are 50-50. Sometimes they are. It fluctuates. Sometimes a relationship's going to be 70-30. The next time it's going to be 60-40. Might be 20-80. It's going to change day to day on who needs the support. It's not going to be an even 50-50 the entire time. I personally don't think it's going to be an even 50-50 the entire time. So I think when people are like, oh, 50-50 support, like, and I'm not talking financial, I'm talking about like emotional, like compromise. It's never, we're always going to meet in the middle. You might meet them here. They might meet you there. It's going to change per thing. And like sleep is very important, but I think there are probably some things that like he could have compromised on. He could, in my head, I'm like, okay, well, you can keep the ceiling fan on, and instead of having your loud ass little fan that makes the room even colder that you like to use for noise, we can get you a white noise machine, or we can, they literally make apps now where you can pre-record your own white noise and it'll like loop it for you. You can record that loud ass tiny little fan and it'll loop it. And while that might still be annoying, it takes a little bit of like the temperature cold out of the equation. And while I don't think that like being like, fuck it, I'm just going to move to my own bedroom is maybe the right call, I do think it's important for people to have space. As somebody who's been in a couple of relationships, one thing that I always struggled with is and I'm learning to be better, be proud of me. The one thing that I always struggled with was like completely fucking myself over to make the other person really comfortable, and also neglecting everything about me and trying to like become, like subconsciously trying to become that person, like that person's ideal person. I think it's still really important, even in like very mature and very like long length relationships, that you do have your own space and you have your own friends and you have your own activities that you do maybe one-on-one, like without the other person, or not one-on-one, by yourself without the other person. So I don't think that she needs to move and sleep in a new bedroom, but maybe it sounds like she needs to take some space for herself, you know? Maybe tone it down, take some space. Okay, so I don't think she's the asshole. I think it could have been handled a little bit better. This one looks juicy, you guys. Am I the asshole for stopping payment for my grandfather's carer? It says care R. I found out he secretly gave the apartment to my aunt. Here we go, guys. Buckle in. This one's a long one. My grandfather had a stroke almost 2 years ago. After he got out of the hospital, he couldn't manage on his own anymore. He wasn't bedridden, but his memory was failing, his blood pressure was constantly fluctuating, and sometimes he'd leave the gas on or call me in the middle of the night because he thought somebody was walking around the apartment. Sorry, Gramps, life support is gone. I live nearby, about a 20-minute drive, so everything gradually fell on me. Doctors, medications, paperwork, trips, groceries. When things got tougher, I found a caregiver for a couple days a week. His pension covered part of the expenses, but a decent caregiver and post-stroke medications are very expensive, so I was constantly chipping in my own money. Sometimes $1,000 to $2,000 a month would just disappear. The rest of my family seemed to exist only in name. My aunt would come by once every couple of months with some fruit, take pictures with Grandpa, post something about the family, and then disappear again. My cousins hardly showed up at all. And yes, this is probably important. I really thought the apartment would end up being mine. Grandpa himself said more than once that I was the only one helping him and everything would be fair. I even put off moving to another city because I knew he simply wouldn't make it without me. But I don't think Grandpa was obligated to leave the apartment to me. What really hurt me was the fact for years they let me live under the impression that they were a family and honest with each other, while behind my back they had already decided everything. A few weeks ago, I came home earlier than usual and overheard my aunt and grandpa talking in the kitchen. She was trying to convince him to not leave the apartment to me because I could only help for my own benefit. She said she has children, a mortgage, and a real family, and grandpa agreed with her. That's when I found out that he had already transferred the apartment to her 6 months ago. No one told me anything. Meanwhile, I kept paying for the caregiver and some of the medication all this time because I was sure that we were at least being honest with each other. I didn't make a scene. I just told my aunt that since the apartment was now hers, the responsibility should be hers too. I warned her that starting next month, I wouldn't be paying for anything anymore. Now there's a weird atmosphere in the family. No one tells me I'm wrong, but there are constantly comments like, well, he's an old man. Why are you counting every penny? You can't just do that because of the inheritance. And now I don't even understand myself. Wait, I don't even understand myself. Did they really take advantage of me, or do I look like someone who only helped my grandpa for the sake of an apartment? Am I the asshole? I don't think this person is the asshole. Only because I probably would have reacted 10,000 times worse. I would have been the asshole. Let me just say that. I can understand the frustration of being a pseudo caregiver or sole caregiver, and you are funding this lifestyle. You are dumping money into them because their pension's not going to cover everything. Their retirement doesn't cover everything. And the family comes and goes very rarely and just basically uses grandpa as a photo op, it sounds like. That would piss me off to no end. I would also be pissed off if the entire time, it would be the same level of me being pissed off of being I've been taking care of you. You told me this was going to be mine. All this stuff. I've been bending over backwards. I've been doing all this stuff. Not necessarily with the goal of because I'm going to get said thing, but because I'm you're giving me this, that's fantastic. I love you. I care about you. Let me also contribute some way, right? I feel it's the same type of feeling of you've been told all your life that you have a college fund set aside for you. And you're yes, I'm going to be able to go to college, just to find out that your parents wiped the college fund. Baby, there is no plane. The parents wipe the college fund. You can't afford to go to college. FAFSA's not going to help you. That same level of frustration. I don't think she's the asshole. I think she handled it pretty calmly. I would also say, hey, if this apartment is now yours and grandpa is still alive, if this apartment is still yours, then you got to pick up some slack with grandpa. I probably wouldn't cut all my caregiver stuff off from grandpa because I feel I do love him. In my scenario, I would love him and I still want to take care of him, but I would expect the aunt to pick up a significant amount of slack. Especially if it was all just on this, OP. Okay, I'm trying to find other headlines that pop out, okay? Y'all, pants shitting. Oh God, this one seems juicy. Am I the asshole? I told my daughter she needs to get over her jealousy and it's her own fault that her life is the way it is. Am I the asshole? I told my daughter she needs to get over her jealousy and it's her own fault her life is the way it is. This has been an ongoing issue, and I need some outside opinions with my oldest daughter. My oldest daughter is working as a waitress ever since she dropped out of college. She wasn't going to classes, and her GPA plummeted. The university kicked her out. Due to this, she doesn't have much money to do anything. My other daughter is graduating and got a job offer to a good company. I will call the oldest Madison and the younger Becky. Fake names. Personally, I don't need more. He's absolutely the asshole. Hang on. Becky is going to make good money starting her job, doesn't have any loans, she got a full ride to her college, and Madison is in debt and struggling, and this is where the help is issues stem from. I'm reading this verbatim, there might be some typos. She believes she should be going, she believes she should be going better than Becky since she is older. I have tried over and over to help her, but she has turned bitter about anything that Becky achieves. Becky told us she's planning to go to Iceland in the fall. It was a quick conversation, but in the car ride home, Madison went off. She's pissed that she gets to do all this cool stuff and that it isn't fair. She started to insult Becky, and that's when I had enough. I told her she needs to get over the jealousy, and the reason her life is the way it is her own fault. We got into an argument, and she is pissed. My wife thinks I went too far, but I think she needs to hear it. Okay, so as an older sister who went to college, did 2 years of college, some bad stuff happened. My GPA plummeted. I got kicked out of college. I don't have a 4-year degree. I don't. I have an associate's. That's it. And I knew in that moment of coming back home with my family the first time, I was going to have to work 2-3 times as hard to achieve anything in life, to be taken seriously, to, get a job, to make a name for myself because I didn't have that degree. Because I know that my friends who have degrees, who have bachelors, who have masters, who have doctorates, they're struggling. in this economy right now. So I knew back then that I was going to struggle a lot. And I was very realistic with myself about that. I was like, listen, like, I'm not going to be able to get internships or like just get my way into like a salaried, comfy 9-to-5 job. Like, I'm going to have to work harder and longer to prove that I'm worthy of that, to prove that I'm worthy of that position in a job. There are a lot of people, and I was honest with myself about that. There are a lot of people I think are blind kind of to their situations. I think, like, I'm not saying that it's not possible for you to not go to college and things like not work out, right? I'm not saying that at all. But I think you also have to be honest with yourself that if we're really chalking it up, success comes from luck, connections, references, and sometimes, yeah, having a degree. We struggle busing it right now. Exactly. I'm also very proud to all my graduates who are in chat who just graduated. I'm so proud of you. But I can tell you right now that this is something that like I talked to my therapist about that I struggled with. My brother just graduated from college and I'm very, very proud of him. And so he's technically the first of all my siblings to graduate because I was not the first to graduate. I dropped out. I started working full time. College was not for me. And there was a moment of bittersweetness where I was watching him walk across the stage and I was like, God, his life is so much different from mine. Like if I had just fucking locked in, that could be me. But I never got resentful with him for it. I was still very proud of him. I was more resentful towards myself of like, man, if I just locked the fuck in and shut up and figure it the fuck out, like I could have a degree to my name. But it's not okay for you to sit here and be like, it's not fair that she gets to go to Iceland and she gets to do all this stuff. Now, again, the original poster didn't tell us, like, if he's funding her trip, like maybe that could be where some of the anger could come from. I could understand a little bit more if like dad is funding the daughter's trip and the other daughter is a little frustrated. But also, like, I don't know, in my position, like if my family was like, oh, we're sending your brother to Hawaii because he graduated from college, I'd be like, damn, like I wish I could have gone to Hawaii, but I wouldn't start a fight over it. And I wouldn't be like, you don't deserve it, because I do think you deserve it. I'd just be like, damn, I wish it were me. But I think that just comes from a level of maturity. Some people very stunted in their way of thinking. Just because somebody has something that you want or has something that you deem better than you doesn't make that person undeserving or an asshole. Sometimes there are exceptions to that. I think what it really stems from, from what I'm hearing here, and I'm obviously opinions are opinions. I think what it sounds like is she has resentment towards herself and seeing like, because older siblings, you're supposed to be the role model, you're supposed to be the leader, you like set the tone, whether it's like specified or not. That's kind of how it feels to be raised as an older sibling. To have the younger finally like surpass you in a level of education or lifestyle can feel threatening. And if you're not comfortable with yourself and your soul and your heart, some people will lash out and some people will get really nasty really fucking quick. No, she needs to be catered to. Some people never grow out of their mindset and the world revolves around them. Yeah, some people also don't grow that mindset. Like the world owes you nothing. It really owes you nothing. You just got to figure it out. And that's the other thing where it's like, when I tell people like, oh, you don't owe anybody anything, you technically don't, but you should still be a kind and caring person. I'm not saying you don't have to overextend yourself, but you shouldn't be like, I don't owe anybody shit and just be an asshole, just because you're like, fuck everyone, I don't owe anybody shit. That sort of like nihilism, I'm like, yeah, you technically don't owe anybody shit, but like, you must be miserable if you're living your life like this negatively towards everyone 24/7. Being a kind person helps your brain. Fair enough, yeah. So I don't think the dad is an asshole, but it sounds like the core of this maybe started with some parenting issues when she was a child, and it could have been addressed and nipped in the butt sooner, like how my parents did with me. Like when I was fucking up and I was doing really bad in high school, my ex-stepdad sat me down and he was like, hey, listen, I really struggled in high school. I didn't graduate from college. I want to let you know right now that like, if this is the path you take, I'm going to be so fucking honest with you. You are going to have to work 10 times as hard to be taken seriously, to get a good job. Like it is not going to be easy and it's going to be uncomfortable. And while your friends are going to graduate from college, maybe land jobs and start making like 70, 80K a year, it's probably going to take you an extra 10 years to be able to make that amount of money. That's like, you just need to be realistic with yourself. And I'm glad that somebody told me that. I really am, because it changed my perspective on like feeling behind, You can still be, you can still be a kind and caring person. Exactly, Sassy. So I don't think the dad is the asshole. I think that maybe this is like rooted in some like child stuff, but also we don't know everything. Like, did the dad pay for the trip? Like, I feel like there might be some stuff left out, but I don't think he's an asshole. Oh, for my ladies in chat and for my men, I'm curious to see what a man's input on this. and my non-binaries. Am I the asshole for ruining my daughter-in-law, not her actual daughter-in-law's birth plan? Y'all know what a birth plan is? I'm gonna click on this. Please don't be taken down by a moderator. Oh, Lord. Okay, so you know what a birth plan is. I need some opinions on this situation. Am I the asshole for ruining my daughter-in-law's birth plan? My son and daughter-in-law are staying with me at the moment. Their house is being fixed due to a flooding issue that happened about a week ago. A fire hydrant broke and flooded the houses near it. Due to this, their home needs some floors replaced, and it's not safe for them to be there while contractors deal with the damage. OMG, I love this. Oh, God. My daughter-in-law is supposed to give birth to her first kid at the beginning of next month, and their home will not be fixed in time. They've been staying with me and set up a little nursery in the guest bedroom. My home is not big. I downsized years ago. I live in a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom home. I learned this weekend that she was planning on having a water home birth and a midwife during it. I thought she was going to the hospital, but apparently that wasn't the plan. She plans to have the kid in basically a blow-up pool that goes in the house. The only 2 places where to fit it are in the living room or if I move my bed in the master bedroom. I thought about it, and I'm not comfortable with that happening in my home. I told her this today, and she was pissed. We got into an argument, and she was mad that I ruined her birth plan. My son wants me to apologize and have it here. Again, I'm against it. I don't want her giving birth in my living room. The way she started, am I the asshole for ruining my daughter-in-law's birth plan? I was thinking like, is she being like, am I the asshole? I held the baby first. I thought that's where that was going. I really thought that's where that was going. I can't blame the woman for not wanting somebody to give birth in either her living room or her bathroom. I don't think she's the asshole there. There are quite literally only two people on this planet. 2 people on this planet that if they came up to me and they were experiencing something like that, like similar setup, like house flooded, whatever, and they were like, hey, my birth plan's really important to me. And they had a midwife and they had all that stuff. There are only 2 people on this fucking planet that I would even consider letting do that. And those are like my 2 closest friends. And even then I'd be like, yeah, shoddy, we are laying down tarps everywhere. But I also don't think I would let them do it on my carpeted bedroom. I'd be like, yeah, living room for you on some hardwood floors. But if the whole apartment or the whole home is carpeted, I can understand why she does not want somebody, especially because it's like, it's not her daughter. It's not her daughter. It's the woman her son married. Yes, daughter-in-law name, but still it's like not her child. She didn't ruin your birth plan. And I think like, how do I say this without being an asshole? I'm going to become the asshole. I'm becoming the asshole here. No, shoddy, you cannot give birth in my home. Here's where I'm going to become the asshole. Or maybe, and I don't think really an asshole. Maybe I'm just going to say some shit that people don't like. Birth plans are great and birth plans are fantastic. I don't think I have ever seen or heard of a birth story where it has actually gone to plan to the T. Gotta bust out the sham. Not the ShamWow, the Shaboomy. Babe, get the Shaboomy, the baby's coming. I don't think I've ever heard of a birth plan actually going to plan. Ever. I don't think, like, cohesively to plan ever. Baby, you gotta, and maybe it's the anxiety disorder in me. You gotta have contingency plans. You gotta have contingency plans. Yeah, if you still want water birth, then go to the hospital. Also, most hospitals will, for the most part, follow your birth plan until shit goes sideways, and then they will be like, oh, fuck, we gotta, you're getting a C-section, bitch. If you guys on your own find any Am I the Asshole subreddits that you want me to read, you can send them in the Discord, and I will read them.